South isolation in
It's
Istanbul.
over 2 months.
Should have got masks on.
Yeah, should we start off with our masks on?
Now I know a lot of people start these to camera blogs with how many days they've been in isolation, but I couldn't have told you last week how many days.
No, it's over 2 months. I know that we've been here. But who knows?
So day on isolation here in Istanbul. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd do a talk to camera and sort of update you on what's not been
happening.
going on in Turkey.
We've had good days, we've had bad days, we've had mainly good days, but...
Not really bad days,
Yeah.
not like anything drastic's
Yeah.
happened. Just days when we feel like, what on earth can we do? Where are we going next? That keeps changing because the dates keep getting messed around.
Well, we can't really plan anything, so you can't say, okay, we're going to do this at this time. You know, it's just a case of, maybe we should do this, and we talk about it for a little while and say, yeah, and we get quite excited about it and think we're going to do it, and then we think, can't really put any of that thing in concrete, can't plan the dates.
Well, it's predominantly been the walk. We
Yes.
talked mainly about doing the Camino de Santiago. And the complications with that is Michelle and I would go now. We'd literally start walking from here if we could. But you know my point of view on all this hysteria that's going around with mask wearing and all the craziness that's going on in the world. Well, it's not just mine. We both have
Yeah,
the
we
same.
both agree. I agree. I might not say as much as Steve,
No,
but
I
do
talk
agree
a lot.
I listen.
Michelle and I do talk together a lot. But I'm the one that sort of gasses to you guys on camera more often than not. But the complication there is I don't really want to start the Camino. I mean, it would be nice to be the first to do the Camino, to be the first there, the blazing the trail of the Camino. But I don't really want to be on the Camino wearing masks and cleaning my hands with sanitizer and acting like a complete idiot, because for us that experience was meant to be a really uplifting experience. And that would spoil it.
It would. You know, it was waiting to see whether, first of all, the albergues were going to be open, the borders were going to be open. And then
Albergues, by the way, are the hostels or the places you can stay along. So when Michelle says the albergues, just clearing that up.
Clarifying that. So it was just waiting for all that to open up, and then we were going to say, just go. You know, we can definitely go. But we've had a little bit second thoughts about that, haven't we?
Because you can really only walk the Camino de Santiago with the assistance of the albergues. They have to be open because through Spain you can't camp. You can't actually stay in a ridge tent and do. It's not one of those sort of walks.
Yeah, you have to stay in designated campsites, but you can't just camp anywhere. So
yeah, and all the campsites and all the albergues, which are the common way, is sort of like what most people like to do is stay in these communal sort of hostels. And I said they like to do it. I think they can be a bit hard, but they like to stay in these places and get the community and get the talking and other travellers exchanging tales. I mean, this is a month and a half of walking, 800 kilometres. I think it's 500 plus miles.
It's the community, isn't it? It's meeting people, it's talking to people, it's getting their stories. And
yeah.
I mean, you spend a lot of time walking on your own, just walking the two of us, and then talking to everybody that you meet. And then at the end of the day, you all get together, don't you?
Yeah, so that's sort of... that we come in sort of fits and starts whether we can do the Camino or not. We would love to do it right now and just, you know, we're getting... This is another weekend. We've got another curfew weekend. We're not allowed to go out of the apartment again. I think they're starting to ease up on that this week. They're going to start opening up Turkey a little bit internally, not with the borders, but they're going to let people out a bit more. They're not doing the restaurants and things yet.
No, it's hairdressers and malls and more stores and things can open up with special restrictions put in place, so your social distancing and things like that.
So that's starting to come about, which will make the whole Istanbul experience a little bit better. I can get a haircut. Which would be quite nice, and I'll probably film that. We're trying to think of other things to talk about here. It's not so easy because of what little is going on in our daily existence at the moment. It really is quite mundane. We've started to increasingly think that it might be nice to spend more time in Turkey, but that opens up the visa issue because by the time this lockdown ends, you have to have a visa to come into Turkey, and the maximum you can get is 3 months. But by the time the lockdown ends, we will have already been here longer than 3 months. And we've read on various official sites that they're going to ease up on the visas, so people who are stuck here because of the lockdown will be able to, they won't be fining people.
It won't be an issue that you've overstayed. You won't be fined or anything like that.
Which is good, but on top of that, we haven't experienced Istanbul and Turkey the way we would have liked to. So this sort of whole 3-month experience here has not been the Turkey we came to experience. So in a way, I'd like to stay longer. I'd like to stay another 3 months or longer.
But we've got to find out that, yes, they're not going to fine you for overstaying your visa, but then how long can you stay on that original visa, being as it will be an already overstayed visa?
Yeah, because we don't know if they're going to say, no, it doesn't matter if you overstay, but when we tell you you've got to leave on the 15th, you've got to be out by the 16th, or what's going to happen. There's this great uncertainty here for people, for tourists that are stuck here. There's a big uncertainty. But also the ideal thing, what we would like the Turkish authorities to do, is basically say, rock up to the post office or somewhere that's convenient for tourists to go to, and just get a 3-month extension, because.
Or even a month or 6 weeks, or just have an extension. So
it should be 3 months. If you've been here, been here spending money in Turkey for 3 months, spending money in the Turkish economy for 3 months. It harms. We're not claiming benefit in Turkey, so it harms Turkey not at all to extend that visa for another 3 months. And if they were to do that, for example, and say, okay, look, now we can actually just pop over the border, but at the moment the borders are closed. We could just go over into
Greece or Bulgaria.
Bulgaria probably would be the easiest land crossing, or maybe over to Greece and come back in. But it's inconvenient. Yeah. So we don't know. What are we going to do?
So we've got to research that a little bit, or talk to somebody. But besides, we've got to work that one out.
That'll resolve it. It's not keeping us up at night, to be honest. Those sort of things, that's the sort of small stuff that we don't sort of worry about greatly. But we are starting to think maybe the Camino, rushing to do the Camino, might not be the best option. So whether we should spend more time exploring this beautiful country and learning a little bit more Turkish and learning more about the culture.
People have been saying you should visit this area. I can't say the name, so I'm not going to pretend.
Well, Cappadocia, but some of the coastal Mediterranean areas also. We did want to go to the Anzac Bay down in Gallipoli for the Anzac Day memorial, but that's gone and passed.
That's been and gone.
We missed that. But there are other places in Turkey we'd love to visit. So it's a dilemma. We don't know what to do. We joke about we keep fairly light-hearted about the problems that we're having here in Turkey, because there's nothing you can do.
No. Well, it's the not knowing. It's the same. Everyone's in the same boat, but it's the not knowing what we can do, what we can plan to do. It's not like we're in our own home and we can just say, okay, well, we've got to hang around home, and then when it's all opened up again, we go back to work, we go back to our daily lives, and it's all hunky-dory. We sort of have to plan a little bit what we're going to do, and we can't plan because we don't know where we're going to go.
I guess most people's end game is quite obvious. Work opens up, you go back to work. Our end game is a lot more complicated or not complicated, but it's a bit more unknown because we don't know what the end game is. This next few weeks we were meant to be starting the Camino de Santiago, but we weren't going straight from Istanbul. We were probably going into Bulgaria and maybe Croatia and different parts of maybe Bosnia-Herzegovina. We were going into other parts of Europe. So now this sort of there's this blank sort of period, it sort of goes Istanbul, Santiago, and that doesn't really work. I think that's not going to work for us. Also, we have talked about going back home, but there's all the problems that would lie, expensive flights, horrendously expensive, flying when all these sort of bugs are going around, and I'm not really bothered about the COVID bug, but there's lots of colds and flus and things that get passed around when you're flying this time of the year. And
we don't particularly want to go back to Australia because they're going into their winter, and that's not our favourite time to be there.
No, we've just turned up and done winter here in Turkey, which wasn't the best of plans. So
that's the other thing with staying in Turkey. It's just getting into the lovely weather, isn't it?
the weather's getting really
It'll
nice.
be really nice to be here and do things. The thing is, we want to do more videos. We want to do more vlogs, and actually show what we're experiencing. But we're finding it quite hard to think about what to do and where to go while we're stuck here.
Which brings me to the other thing that Michelle and I have been discussing. I've been editing quite hard the Indian vlogs, the last part of India before we came to Turkey, Istanbul, and when I put those videos up at the moment, they're getting very little traction because I think people are losing a bit of interest. It's not current, it's not what's happening at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'll continue to edit those videos, but I'm probably not going to put them up until the time feels right. So for the time being, what we want to hopefully do is vlog a bit more of this experience.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I should just say, actually, while I talk about YouTube and the making of videos, I want to say a big thank you to Paul Weber and Rena, who recently joined our Patreon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. It does mean a lot to us. And we've already got other Patreons that have been following us for a while. Patreon.com Steve's Kitchen is a place where you can support the channel if you want to, with a sort of small amount each month. It's not important. We're not actually going to change the content based on the fact that that people are giving us Patreon donations, but if you want to say thank you, it's a very good way of supporting the channel. So getting back to making videos, I think we probably try and make more videos about this current situation.
We don't. Sometimes we think it's not very interesting. We go out, we come back.
Yeah, like this. This feels boring.
It does.
But it just felt today we're locked in. We've got another weekend ahead of us. By the way, the date is, what is the date, Michelle? Can you remember?
Oh, it's about the 8th or 9th of May. It's a Saturday.
Saturday, the 8th or 9th of May. You can check it.
We've lost all contact of where we are.
We're kind of not interested, unless something really, important is happening. You don't tend to think of the days.
No.
We're not sat there like prisoners chalking on the wall how many days we've been locked in Istanbul. It's not so important.
I tend to know what day of the week it is. I can work that out.
Well, only because of the lockdowns.
Well, no, I tend to know what day of the week it is.
Michelle's better than me.
But dates, I know we've gone into May.
I don't often know what year it is, never mind what day of the week it is.
And what time of day, he's got no idea.
Well, I actually rarely need to know what time of day it is.
True.
It's morning time or it's afternoon time, and it's it's getting late and it's time to get some sleep or do some editing, as often is the case for me. We've had an issue with this microphone. The Rode microphone has failed us. I can't unplug that now. If I unplug it, it will die instantly. But Rode are fantastic as a company. I love these guys. Australian company, by the way. Big plug for Rode. It's not a sponsor or anything. But there's a Rode dealer here who's going to replace that for us this coming week sometime. So that's going to be great. Our road equipment that we travel with has always been really solid. We had the odd small issues, and the customer service is second to none. So for sound equipment, somebody asked me about microphones in a couple of videos back. We use almost exclusively Rode. We used to use Sennheiser for our wireless stuff. It's very good. So this tiny little unit here with its little clip-on, I'm probably making a noise by picking it up, that is gathering the sound now that you're listening to.
I see people quite often wear this because it's got a little clip on it, so you can clip it under here, and it's like a little lapel mic.
Fantastic.
It's great.
But the battery has just completely stopped. It won't charge. It won't charge at all. No. I'm going to see if the guys in Rode will let me keep this one, because we could use this for a sort of like this scenario, but I can't use it outside the building.
No, it's got to be plugged in.
Yeah. So that's happened. I tell you what we might do. We might do a vlog going out to replace this, so we can take you out on the streets and it can show you. Yeah, it's a bit of a walk.
In a direction that we probably haven't been.
An area we haven't been to
before. So that would be interesting, wouldn't it? We'll wait till we have to go there and do it all for you guys at the same time.
Yes, all for you guys.
just for you.
We're so
and
good.
we'll just collect our new road.
We will, and hopefully that won't go wrong. I could be eating my words. I get there, they've got no stock. They have no stock at the moment.
We're just waiting.
They're waiting for new stock to come in, so that's the reason we didn't go this week and get it.
Actually, we've not really had many issues at all.
No, they've been very good.
It's wires and things occasionally. You've got to be careful when you're storing and moving and transporting this equipment. So, occasionally things get sort of kinked on the wires. Maybe you might get a little break, but this is a battery issue.
But this is going to play a big part in our big walks that we've got planned. And being here actually in Istanbul has allowed us to think about some other great ideas.
Yes.
If we enjoy this Camino de Santiago, there's going to be some other really amazing walks that we're planning.
It's been good, actually, in a way, stopping here, because it's made us stop and think and talk, come up with an idea, talk about it, change the idea, throw that idea out. So it's, lots of talking.
We always talk anyway.
I know we do, but it's good because we've actually sat down.
It's given us time to think.
Because sometimes we sort of maybe react a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because we've come up with an idea, just do a talk about it, and think, oh, that's great, and we do it. Whereas here, we've actually got to.
We weren't coming to Turkey. When we were in India, Turkey just came like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't because we'd planned for years to come to Turkey. We literally were in India, and we sort of started looking at the atlas and picking what. Actually, a lot of it revolves around flights.
It does.
If a flight to going to Greece costs $1,500 and flying to Turkey costs $400, well, you know which way you're going to go.
And then you think, okay, we've got to work out visas. How much are the visas going to cost? Is that going to add to the cost? And how long can we stay there? And
because we weren't going to come to Turkey because of the visa cost. It was quite an expensive visa to come here.
Yeah.
And actually, what happened?
About a week after we arrived, they said that the visas became free for us.
Yeah, they basically, the visa charge got completely dropped.
Yeah, so that was a bit annoying, but hey-ho. We actually did arrive. We did need the visa to arrive. So.
We did, but if we'd come a week later, the visas would have been free for the same
And we
period.
don't plan, because it was an e-visa, you can just apply online and get it the next day. So, if it dropped a week earlier, we wouldn't have had to pay.
You getting a bit dry?
No.
I thought you coughed or something.
No.
A bit dry. So what else has been going on?
What else? Well, you've been chatting to the neighbours out the window?
Yeah, I always talk with the neighbours. There's a lot of people in this street, local people who live here, and there's quite a few foreigners that are here. We've got a guy from Egypt, a girl from the UK. There's somebody from Brazil, but she's actually left. So she managed to get a flight out somehow, but I think she went to Russia or somewhere.
Yeah, she was going to Italy, and it was a very expensive flight, but she went via Russia or somewhere.
Yeah. There's a guy here from Morocco.
Yes.
So there's people from all over the world stuck here waiting to see what they can do. And they all are in the same boat. They've all got visas that are expiring because they've been here for months, sometimes 1-2 months, as Michelle and I have been. So there's a real community building up. And one of the nicest surprises was one of our neighbours, and she's from Kurdistan.
I think so, yes.
Bigame,
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Lovely girl. She's actually in the same block as us. And the other day she dropped a little sort of, what did she call it?
A care package.
A care package at the door. So
there was a little knock on the door.
Little knock on the door, and it took me a few moments to get to the door, and she scurried away, but she left a little care package of some cookies and a bit of chocolate and a nice little card that she'd made.
And some flowers.
And some flowers,
yes, it was
of course.
very nice.
So that was really sweet. We met her, we become a little closer to her. We met her and went and had a glass of wine, sat on her balcony upstairs the other day, and she's a lovely girl. So there's a great community,
It is.
A really nice group of people.
But the locals are very good too. I mean, Steve's the chatter, so he goes down and talks to them all.
I talk to them all. They're all mates.
But
I've got them all on Instagram, sharing with Instagram, and we're messaging them and taking photographs of them in the street and putting, sending them nice pictures. You might have seen some of those on Instagram. Now, one of the things we were saying just now is there any questions we need to answer from YouTube comments? There aren't that many, so how about throwing some questions? And if we do another Q&A like this, maybe we can go through, I might get my phone here and we'll just go through a list of questions you might want to answer.
We could even do a Q&A one if we get enough questions.
So send your questions. Here below this video, Facebook or Instagram, make a little note that you're doing it for the Q&A, so we know that you want them answered, not just in YouTube, because I answer a lot of those, as you know. And maybe we'll do this again next weekend. If the lockdown is still on.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the lockdown will be eased for next weekend.
Maybe.
We'll do it next weekend anyway.
Yes.
All right? So get your questions in. Ask what you want, really. If it's too personal, we might not. But ask what you want. And I think we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah. Then we are going to sort of do some live shows, aren't you? You like to do the live streams?
I like the live stream, so we'll try and do one every week at least. Maybe even more, depending. I've just had to buy another SIM package, so I've just had to upgrade that.
So we're all set for another month.
So yeah, we're all set for another month. That's expensive here in Turkey, but that's another story. But so we've got plenty of data. I don't know how I say it anymore. That's one of the problems. Well, it's not a problem, because we travelled so much. As we grew up as kids, saying data or data, because some parts of the world say data, some parts of the world say data. I don't even know what I used to say.
You used to say.
So there's so many words, like you'll hear me say tomato, tomato,
Yogurt,
yogurt, when I talk to you on camera sometimes, because I know a great chunk of the world say it one way and a great chunk say it the other way, and I've started to forget the way I say it, so it doesn't matter to me at all. But I've got it a little bit, because some people get tetchy about the way you pronounce things.
Doesn't matter. I
don't care really,
it's
but
different.
I do forget my own.
We're global, so we just pronounce it how we feel.
Yeah, we'll pronounce it.
We'll make our own pronunciation.
We might even just make it and call it Dota. Our Dota. We've just bought more Dota for the SIM card internet, so we'll be able to do some live streams.
All sorted for that.
All right, so share the love, everybody.
Yes,
share this video with your friends and family. Michelle and I will see you very shortly. I'm going to edit this pretty quickly, and we get it up within the next 24 hours. I'm going to have to work out. I might have to use some of my Dota to do that.
I can say Dota permitting.
Yeah, Dota permitting. Take care. See you in the next video.
Bye.
And get right in, try and do them justice, getting the olives that he couldn't get with the shaker. And I think it's important to get as much of the crop as possible.
Right.